doing it all the things. And I'm just so proud of them.
That's awesome. And like a horrible host, I just started recording the call now. So I blame Shalene. She put me in charge today. Sorry, guys. We are recording now. If anyone has anything, let's just keep going.
Well, I can repeat, even though I haven't gone, just kidding. So I'm not repeating it, but just the same thing. I think the consistency of my girls has been amazing, and I'm just stinking proud of them, every single one of them. My Team Cup girls also, we actually started a bit earlier running a free group now. So everyone is showing up. I don't know how they do it. And I'm still trying to learn from them. They teach me so much. So I know they're going to start. I'm hoping they will start with a strong February because they're already finishing strong with January. So we're going to be running another one in next month. So that created the momentum, but I'm so proud of them. And it's just the continuous effort they keep putting up and showing up and being themselves. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else?
I'll go real quick since
Okay.
we're all talking about personal goals. I love it. It's not necessarily just SC, but like everyone's doing amazing things this month. I'll second that. Our girls are just doing an amazing job. Our Team Cup, I'm excited for. There's some newbies on there, which I'm so excited for them to learn. And ultimately, we're all just there to learn from each other. So I'm excited for that, getting outside our comfort zones. She's technically not my coach, but I want to shout out Shorty because she finally did the darn thing with her website, and I think we all should celebrate that because I know that's really scary. So wanted to shout her out, even though she's not technically my coach. And then Kara as well. I know Cassie's on the call, which is exciting to see. But I wanted to shout out Kara and Cassie for just rocking their stories, talking so eloquently about the business, about nutrition, about all the things, and really contributing to the chats as well, helping everybody out. So I'm just so proud of everyone just doing the work and getting uncomfortable, and it's going to really pay off. We're planting all the seeds now.
Can I tag on to that? Okay. I want to point out, and like I totally second, congrats Shorty on having a website and having everything together. I do want to highlight, especially as we're doing recognition, a lot of the time we will hear recognition and we'll hear what other people are doing. And sometimes it can feel like we need to be doing that thing as well. So more than highlighting the fact that you created a website and you have it together, I want to highlight the fact that you waited until you were ready to get it done. And I'm really proud of you for not thinking that that was something that you needed to be successful. It's something now that is complementing a business you've built. And there's a really big difference between creating something because you think you need to have it and creating something that is actually helping you and servicing your business with where you're at. Same with your team page and doing your own team calls and everything else. You've really waited until you were there at that level where it was going to serve you in your business with where you're at. So that patience is really hard to come by sometimes, especially this business, because you want to just like rush through and you just want it all. And you think that that's going to be the thing that like helps you get to that next level. But I really want to highlight the fact that you have been very patient with making sure that you're using these tools to complement where you're at. So if anything, I think that is something that I really want to recognize in you, is just having that pulse check on your business is a really cool quality to come by, and something that is admirable for sure.
Absolutely. Anybody else? I've got a couple if you guys don't have any. No? Okay. So I just wanted to throw a shout out to both Kaylee and Shaw for getting into new leaders this week. It's a huge conference. Shalene is there as well. And you ladies have completely busted your butt last year to get there. So I know, and Shorty knows, what this conference is all about. And I promise you, every single person on this call, you want to be at New Leaders. New Leaders is where a lot of people's businesses change, because the training that you get and a switch that just goes off happens at that conference. It's kind of a step up in your business where you really start to step into your leadership and lean into your team. And that's where change is going to happen. And I just wanted to shout out you three ladies, because I know you're from our team and you're going to be there. And that is absolutely incredible. It sucks that it's virtual this year and not in Vegas, but nonetheless, super proud of you guys. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay, but let's hop into tonight's call. So tonight, I'm going to be talking to you about, they're called the Millionaire Success Habits, and they are habits that you can start to implement into your life right now to kind of give you that foundation for success. And before we get into those habits, there's something that I believe is extremely important to recognize in order for these habits to even kind of be a consideration. Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a statement in a second. I want you to go in the chat and tell me, just type yes or no whether you agree with this statement. Okay, 97% of your success is up to you. Yes or no? I'll give the chat a second. Okay, tons of yeses, tons of yeses. I'm hoping I don't see any no's. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so all of you are typing yes, which means that you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now based off the actions that you've taken or have not taken. So the reason you are where you are in life or in business is because of the actions you took or the actions you did not take. Okay, now that can be a little overwhelming at first and can be a little bit, it can set you back a little bit, but I want it to be empowering too. I want it to be empowering in the sense that you took those actions to get where you are. And if you're not happy, you can take action to change that. Okay, so I want that to be extremely important. Now, something we need to recognize is if you didn't have a good year in business, is it because Beachbody didn't have a good year in business? Which in reality is not true, because Beachbody had one of the biggest years they've ever had in the history of the company. So it's not that, right? Were you not successful this year because of COVID, right? We could say that COVID was a big hindrance to our business, but that's not it either, because we all had to contend with COVID, right? So, and there are tons of coaches in this company that were being successful. Take Jamie and Kim Fitzpatrick, for example. If you don't know them, they're our upline mentors. And Jamie had a massive heart attack. He had a widowmaker, which only 6% of people ever survive from. And he's fortunate to be here. And would that cause stress? Absolutely. Right. On top of COVID, on top of everything else, he's got health issues. Obviously, that would cause some strain on the relationship. It would cause strain on Kim. Yet they still went 4-time elite couple, which they're the only couple in Beachbody to ever do that. They also went 2-time superstar diamond, also the only couple to ever do that. And Kim just hit number 8 out of 400,000 coaches in the entire company. So COVID isn't the reason, right? The sole reason we are where we are is based on the actions we've taken or have not taken. Okay, I want that to kind of sink in, because in order for these success habits to be a consideration, we need to be able to take responsibility of our own life and know that we are in 100% control of where we are, right? And I say 100, but really 97% of our success is based on us. I left 3% to the unknowns, right? The unknown shit that we can't control. But what we can control is how we respond to that shit, right? How we show up when shit gets hard. So the first thing I want us to recognize is that we need to take 100% ownership of our life. And I want that statement of we are where we are, and the reason we are where we are is because of the actions we're taking. I want that to be empowering to you, because if you're not happy with your business, change your actions. What are you doing that can change? What are you not doing that you could change to throw your business forward, right? If you're not happy in a relationship, change the relationship. You know, if your relationship is terrible, you do have the choice to leave, right? If you're the person who's making the relationship terrible, you have a choice to make that relationship incredible. So we are in 100% control of what we do. We're in control of what car we drive, what house we live in, the relationships that are in our life. We have 100% control over that stuff. And in order for these next habits to come into play, we really have to take ownership of our own life, because like, we get it. COVID sucks. And there are people who are literally sitting on their couch, drinking booze and watching Netflix, waiting for COVID to be over. Like, I want you to understand how horrible a plan that is, to sit and wait for something to be over, right? That's like being on the Titanic, watching it hit an iceberg and waiting miraculously for someone to show up and fix it. Like, newsflash, that's not going to happen. It is extremely hard to be successful when you live your life that way. Okay. So first, we need to accept responsibility. So I want you to type in the chat, yes or no. If you don't accept responsibility of where you are right now, then type no. But I hope that you all type yes and say that you are ready to take ownership of your own life and accept responsibility of where you are right now, because it's solely up to us. All right. Lots of I'm ready's, lots of yeses. Awesome. Okay. So let's get into these millionaire success habits. Again, these are habits that you can implement into your life starting right now that are going to help give you the foundation you need for success. Okay. They're called the millionaire success habits because some of the top earners and top entrepreneurs in the world created these habits and do them on a daily basis. Okay. And if terms like millionaire or billionaire, if those scare you, then you need to do personal development, because those are not scary words. Okay. But number one, and we talk about this all the time, and I'm probably going to spend the most time on this topic, is you need to have a crystal clear vision of where you want to go and why. Okay. It's so important. If you think about it, guys, we've had 4 calls this month. 3 of them, including tonight, have touched on this topic. It's probably important, right? Picture this. You guys are on an airplane with your family and you're excited to travel. You haven't been able to go anywhere in 2 years. You're excited to get away and you're really looking forward to this time with the family. And your pilot comes on and he's like, "Hey passengers, this is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with us. Welcome aboard flight 747. And we are heading to," where are we headed again? "Oh, wait, we don't know. I have no clue where we're going, but I think we have enough fuel." He checks with his co-pilot and his co-pilot's like, "Yeah, no, we're not sure. Maybe we might have enough fuel." Pilot comes back on. "We're not really sure if we have enough fuel where we're going, but I know you guys really want to get out of here and you want to get on this vacation because you're excited about it. So what I'm going to tell you is we're going to get up in the air, and when we figure out where we're going to go, I'll let you know if we have enough fuel. But like last ditch scenario, if we don't, there's parachutes under your seat and a flight attendant will be out shortly to tell you how to use those." Right? By show of hands, who on this call is fighting tooth and nail to get their family off of that airplane? Right? Some of you may be laughing and going, "You know what? I just want a vacation. I don't care where we go." Right? But in all reality, people live their life like that. Right? I would say 80% of the population lives their life like that. Like, they just wake up and go, "Okay, world, what do you got for me today?" You know, I might check in with the boss on the email and see what kind of tasks he has me do because I'm a good employee. Right? Or maybe you'll check in with your wife to see if she's in a good mood, because if she's not in a good mood, it's probably going to be a bad day. And if she's in a horrible mood, it's probably going to be a bad week. Right? And the only goals or plans I really have is that hopefully at 6 o'clock, I can sit down on the couch, have a beer, and watch about 4 hours of Netflix. People, guys, if I think about my people in my life, 80% of them live their life that way. Right? 80% of them live their life that way. And I'm telling you, it is so hard to be successful when you live your life by chance. Right? Life doesn't get better by chance. Life gets better by change. And we can't sit around and wait for life to change. We have to make those actions. We have to do those actions now, right? So if I think back, the only time that I've ever been successful in sport or life or business is when I had a clear vision of where I wanted to go and why I wanted to get there, right? So when we think of this call, like we've had a couple calls on goal setting and vision boards. Have you done your vision board? Do you know where you're going, or are you on that airplane that isn't sure and just hope you have enough gas to get wherever you want to go? Right? So if you don't have your vision board done, get it done. It's only going to help you. It's only going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit me. It's for your benefit of your business and your growth and where you want to go. Okay. The one thing that can help you with your casting a crystal clear vision is visualization. This is something that I find extremely important in life. This is more than just Beachbody stuff, guys. This is more than just business. This is life in general. Visualization is a critical component to my daily life. I visualize every single day. Okay. It was inbred in me as a kid, through sport, as I grew up in policing, and now into business. So as a kid, playing football, I would visualize everything that was going to happen in that game. So I would sit pregame, I would throw my earbuds in with my shock Discman because I was older back then, and we didn't have cool iPods or anything like that. So I had my Discman, I threw my earbuds in, and I listened to music, and I closed my eyes, and I would visualize everything from the kickoff to the final whistle. And not just like, oh, we're going to win this game, and I visualize what it's like. I would visualize plays. Like I would picture the quarterback snapping the ball, and he would turn around, he'd go to hand it to me, and I could hear the ball hit my chest plate and hit my stomach. I would swallow that ball up. I would see the hole open up. I would run through that hole, and I would make first contact with the linebacker. I could spin off it before I was hit by another person and brought to the ground. I would visualize every single play. And the reason I did that was because I would much rather have something happen in front of me and my brain to realize that, oh, I've seen this before, and we can just hit a play button rather than trying to make up something, right? Moving into policing, we use visualization every single day. I can tell you that there is not a scenario, not a call, not anything that I wouldn't be confident enough going to. I have visualized thousands and thousands and thousands of different things that could happen on calls, from people pulling guns to knives to people fighting to school shootings to bomb threats to everything, so that when the situation happens, I can confidently say that I know how this is going to pan out because I've already seen it. This isn't the first time I've seen it. And I know that I'm going to make it home to Shalene and the kids every single night, no matter what is thrown to me at the road. Okay. The really cool thing about your brain and visualization is it can't tell the difference between what is real and what you visualize. Right. So, and take this. So when you are watching a scary movie and it's getting to that scary part where you're like, don't go in the room, don't go in the room. And you can start to feel your heart race a little bit. Maybe start to get your palms are a little bit sweaty. And you start to have that physiology in your body change and you start to feel fear. It's because your brain is telling you what you're seeing is real. Even though you know it's a movie, you know it's fake, your brain has no clue. So it's no different. It's no different in life, right? Picture your life like a video game. If you were trying to play the video game for the first time and trying to beat that video game, it is extremely hard to do. But the more you the more you play that video game, the more you learn where the tough spots are and where the little, where the pathways of the game go, the easier that game gets, right? Life is the exact same, right? Life's the exact same. So in your game of life, if you're trying to play this game for the very first time without ever seeing your path before, it's extremely hard to be successful. Okay, I want you to understand that. It is extremely hard to be successful and extremely hard to beat that game. But if you visualize every single day, you visualize your day, your week, your year, and you get into a habit of that, you're going to start to be able to influence the things that happen in your life, right? And the cool thing is, the only other people in your game of life, are the people that are surrounded by you. And we already know 80% of them don't have goals or dreams. So you can easily influence the people in your life and your circumstances based on the thoughts and visualizations that you do on a daily basis. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because I find visualization is like an absolutely critical part in life. And after this call, there is, I'm going to post a link after this call. It's going to be on our team page, the FamJam page, and it is for a visualization exercise. Okay, it's going to take you 3 minutes. I want you to do it. I'm not going to babysit you. This is for your own benefit, has nothing to do with me, but I want you to do it. And it's going to take 3 minutes. So you can do it tonight before you go to bed. You can do it in the morning. You can do it. I do mine in the shower. I know I'm going to be in the shower for 3 minutes. I take my 3 minutes and I visualize my day, my week, my year. Okay. And I go crystal clear into it. Like, what is my day going to look like? I know what workout I'm going to do. I know how my workout's going to go. I know what supplements I'm going to take. I know what personal development I want to do. I know how work is going to go. I know how, what we're going to have for dinner. I know how my night's going to go. I envisioned how this call was going to go and how long it was going to go. I knew I visualized how I'm going to post that link after. So everything that's happening right now, I've already seen. This has already happened, right? So it makes it easier for you to take on life, because life's going to throw curveballs at you every single day. Life is going to happen, and it makes it very easy to fall off path. But if you've already visualized your day and you know how your day and your week and your year is supposed to go, it makes it a lot easier to stay on track. Makes it a lot easier to stay on that path, because you know how your day was already supposed to go, and you can say no to things that aren't as important because you knew you'd already tasked out your day. It's almost like the stuff that Shalene was doing when she's planning out her week and doing that daily planner where she's scheduling stuff. It's the exact same thing with visualization. It makes it easier to stay away from those distractions. Okay. So the cool thing is, even though people know that they can influence the people in their lives and they can influence their circumstances based on the thoughts and visualizations they have, the mind-blowing part is people still don't do it. Like, they still won't do this visualization exercise, even though it is like critical in life. If you want to be successful, if there's one thing that you take from this call today, I hope it is this part. I hope it is that you take this visualization and you implement it into your life every single day for the rest of your life, because I promise you, if you do that, the successes that you're going to see are going to be huge. And I'm not even talking business. I'm talking life. Like, life in general is going to be massive. And visualization is a huge component to that. But moving on to number 2. Okay. Number 2 is to create a set of success habits. Okay. So success habits are rituals that we do on a daily basis. So something that you do that is in line with your goal. So for example, like working out, drinking your shake, taking your supplements, your vitamins, doing your personal development, getting the vital behaviors in the business. It are things that align with where you want to go. So in order for you to know that, you have to have your vision first. You have to have your goals in place on where you want to go. And then these habits are what you need to be doing on a daily basis in order to reach that goal. So, even when you do your visualization, like, where are you going to be in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 10 years? Who is that person? What does that person do? What habits does that person have? Right? Because those are the habits that you want to start implementing today so that you can get to that person. You're always going to be chasing that person, because even when you get to a stage in that person is still going to be another 5 years ahead. So you're never going to get to the finish line, but you're always going to be chasing something bigger, which is huge. So if you don't have a set of daily habits yet, and you don't know what the success habits are, find somebody that you look up to, whether it's a diamond coach, a 2-star diamond coach, a 10-star diamond coach, whoever you look up to, and find out what their habits are. What are their success habits? What are things that they do? What are rituals that they do every single day to help them with their success? Right? And that's what you need to start implementing into your life. I'm not saying implement all of them all at once, because that's hard to do. But over time, you should be implementing these things so that they become habit, that they become ritual. Like, I don't have to think of working out. I don't have to think of taking my shake or my vitamins or anything like that. That happens on a natural basis, right? Getting into the daily vital behaviors of the business, sometimes I still have to think of that, because there's some days where it's hard, but you push through it, right? But you need to get to the point where those are your habits that you do every single day, because people with high net worth in business do this stuff every single day, without question, every single day. Okay. So number 2 was create a set of success habits. If you don't know, reach out to someone you look up to and find out what they're doing. Okay. Number 3, the power of your story. This one is big, because this is the one that I kind of missed the ball on in the beginning of our career in Beachbody, was the power of telling your story. And when you think of successful people, they are masters of crafting their life and telling their story over and over and over again. They're very good storytellers. Okay. And one that comes to my mind is Tony Robbins. Okay. We all know who Tony Robbins is. Everyone on this call would probably pay $200 to go sit in a conference and listen to him speak, in hopes that we can just grasp at a sliver of what he's throwing out. Right. But is Tony Robbins a great salesman? Or is he a good storyteller? He's not getting us in his seat paying $200 a ticket because he's selling us the ticket. He's getting us in that seat because he's a good storyteller. And we're going there for his stories, because we want to try and grasp on whatever he has, because we know that the knowledge he has. So we want to try and grasp on that. Another great storyteller is Carl Deichler. Okay. Carl Deichler is a great speaker. And if you haven't heard him speak yet, you will. If you're a newer coach, he's our CEO. He is a phenomenal speaker and can sell us on a product the second he opens his mouth. Okay. How many times, if you've watched Carl Deichler on any of the calls, I want a show of hands, how many times has he talked about a product and you're like, can't wait to try that? That looks so good, right? It happens to all of us. He's a great storyteller. It's not that he's an amazing salesman. His craft is in his story. And if Carl Deichler came up to me and said, Jer, I'm going to give you $10 million if you can tell me 10 ingredients in Shakeology without looking, I would honestly have to look him in the eye and go, sir, I probably couldn't even pronounce the ingredients if I read them off the label. Right? But if he changed that and said, Jared, I'll give you $10 million if you can tell me a story of how Shakeology changed your life. I could absolutely tell him a story about how Shakeology's changed my life. I could probably tell him multiple stories about how Shakeology's changed my life, right? From my gut health to my energy to how I feel. Like, the stories go on and on. So if you don't know how to sell Shakeology, it's because you're trying to sell Shakeology. You need to tell your story. You need to tell your story on why you drink it, not necessarily like, hey, this is a bag of Shakeology and there's like goju berries and shiitake mushrooms in there. Like, you don't need to do that. You need to tell your story on why you like it. What is it about that? What does it do for you? What are the benefits? Because that's what people are going to connect with, right? So the number 3 is the power of telling your story. So you need to figure out your story, craft it. It's going to adapt because things are going to change in business. So you're going to have to recraft it. But I want you to get used to filling your days telling your story over and over and over again. All right. Stories is what's going to sell, not the features of what's in Shakeology or the ingredients or the price or anything like that. If you tell a good story, people won't care what the price is, right? I mean, I'm never going to say that Beachbody is a cure for anything, because we cannot say that. But I had IBS issues for the longest time, and knock on wood, I've been drinking Shakeology for 2 years and haven't had a single episode. I'm not going to chalk it up as coincidence. I know there's something in Shakeology that is happening with my gut health. It's helping me somehow. It's not curing it. I still have it, but it has helped me tremendously, to the point where, like, I was losing so much sick time at work that I had supervisors question me. I'd have to actually, probably about 10 years ago, I had a supervisor question me, maybe policing's not for you. You know, maybe you're missing a lot of time, not understanding the fact that, like, I just literally couldn't get out of the washroom. Right. So craft your story, fill your day telling your story over and over again. Okay. Number four is bounce back quickly. This is something that successful people and people of high net worth do extremely well. And there are coaches on this call who have had tremendous things happen to them and have bounced back. Shorty is one of them. Shalene is another. I'll get into both that in a second. But the thing with successful people is that they don't spend a lot of time, and they don't spend a lot of wasted time on things they can't change. They focus on what's controllable. And with situations like that, I'm not saying they don't feel. They definitely feel. People have shitty circumstances, stuff happens, and you feel terrible. But successful people don't dwell on that. They figure out how to put a positive spin on that and how to make the best of it, because you can't change it. Whatever the shit was that happened, it can't change. It's already happened. So what can you work on that's controllable? What can you control right now to fix that, right? You got to be able to bounce back quickly. The life of an entrepreneur, I hate to tell you, is not all fun and games, right? This is a business where you start off and you're like, oh, this is amazing, this is awesome. Then something happens and you crash way down here, right? And then it gets good again, you come back up, and then it crashes again. The goal is to keep that incline on the up and up, right? But with entrepreneurship, there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be bad months. There are going to be haters like you wouldn't believe if you haven't experienced it yet. If you're a new coach, I just want to let you know you need some thick skin in this business. There are people who are going to tell you that you've joined a cult and it's a pyramid scheme, and the Beachbody products are overpriced and they don't work and they haven't been proven, and blah, 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 blah. Haters are going to hate. Let them hate. Who gives a shit? Right? Let them hate. Their opinion is none of my business. That is their opinion, and it's through their own vision. Has nothing to do with my goals or my vision. So who cares? Right? That's why personal development is so important. Personal development is so important because when shit happens in life, when things get hard, it gives you the tools you need to cope with it. Okay. Shorty had one of probably the worst years of her life over the last 2 years, and she never once didn't show up, right? She probably showed up more when shit happened in her life than when things were going perfect, right? And she leaned in on this group and she leaned in on these coaches, because we're all here for one another and we all have the same goal. And we know that in order to be successful, we can't focus on the things we can't control, right? Take Shalene, for example. When I got injured and she had to pretty much, I might get emotional here. She had to pretty much carry this whole family on days that I couldn't even barely tie my shoes. She had to drive me everywhere. You guys know the story. But if she wasn't doing personal development, if she wasn't taking care of herself every single day, I can promise you I was a miserable prick to be around. I did not want to be around anybody. I didn't want to see the light of day. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I can guarantee you that if she wasn't doing personal development, there's a very good chance our marriage wouldn't have lasted. Okay. Personal development is what's going to help you get through the hard shit. Life's going to happen anyways, right? Life's going to happen, but we need to be able to bounce back quickly. It can't be it can't be that stage of, oh, COVID sucks, or, you know, Karen said this and now I'm pissed off and I'm going to take me a week or a month to get over this. And man, right. We can't let stupid shit like that happen, because if it happens and we let the other opinions, we let the opinions of others control us, they win. They win. That's 1 point them, 0 point you. Right? And we already know we're in full control of where our life goes. So don't let other people's opinions control the direction you want to go, right? Especially when they have no clue where your visions or goals are. They have no clue what direction you're going, right? So their opinion means nothing, right? But so often we get to a point where someone says something or someone does something and it throws our whole day off or throws our whole week off. And we can't let that happen. We got to be able to bounce back quickly, right? Because the more we focus on the negative, the longer you stay in the negative. And you need to be able to take your time to grieve whatever the pain process is. You know, I get angry still. People, you know, I work with not the smartest people all the time. But that being said, I don't let it ruin my whole day. One, because I've already visualized how my day is going to go. So them causing a problem is only a minor speed bump, and then I get back on my path on where I was supposed to go. But years ago, that would stew for hours. And I'd probably come home and tell Shalene about how dumb this person was or whatever. We can't do that. We've got to have short-term memory, and we control how we respond. I said that earlier. Like, if someone reacts a certain way or throws a curveball at us, how we respond to adversity is our control. That's on us, right? We can control that. It leads back to the actions we take or the actions we don't take. We get that choice in every decision. So you can choose to let that piss you off and ruin your whole day, or you can choose to focus on what's controllable and get back on your path to lead back to where your goals are. Right? So with this one, bounce back quickly, short-term memory, focus on your goals and work on the controllable. Don't let the opinions of others control where you go, because their opinion is honestly none of your business. It's their opinion through their own lens of whatever they're going on in their life. I hope you understand that. When people throw hate at you, and hate's going to happen in this business, when people throw hate at you, it's through their lens of whatever they're going through in their life, right? They could be going through terrible stuff. So when they're attacking you through that lens. Has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with the fact that you're a Beachbody coach, okay? Has nothing to do with that. It is through their own lens. So for that reason, it's none of your business what they think, right? Focus on what you can control, okay? Number five is don't let the unknown scare you, okay? This one we see a lot in this business. We see it in a sense that, like, when you first start out in this business, there are tons of unknowns, like so many unknowns that it can almost be overwhelming, right? But if you focus on the unknowns without taking any action, it could take you weeks, months, years. By time you figure out the unknown, it's no longer relevant. Right? I hope that makes sense, because by time you figure out what the unknown was at that moment, the business has already changed. Think about how many times our training's changed, our onboarding system, our tracking. We're now going to the Success Club tracker on your phone now. Like, things are changing. If you are constantly spending weeks, months, years worrying about the unknowns, by time you figure that unknown out, it's no longer relevant anymore, right? And a lot of coaches do this in the beginning of their career. They do this where they're like, oh, I need to know everything before I can really get to start, right? So I get this sometimes where coaches are worried about, oh, like, where do I place this coach? And I'm like, hey, that's a great conversation to have, but not right now. Like, one, you have 0 coaches. You haven't even sold a challenge pack yet. That's literally like trying to figure out how to drive to BC before you get your driver's license. Like, you're worrying about tasks that don't matter yet. I'm not saying they're not important. I'm saying they don't matter right now. You need to be doing the actions to get you to the point where you're like, hey, I've got a coach signing up tomorrow. Where do I put them? Right? That's now a conversation we can get on. But if it's like day one, you're like, oh, there's so much, I don't know what to do. Like, I got to wait till I know everything. That's where you let the unknown scare you. And I want to kind of deter you from that, because if you think about it, the unknown is where all the success is going to happen, right? The unknown is where all the big things happen. The unknown is where the income opportunities are, right? If we think about a path, we're walking down a path and we get to a fork in the road, and on one path is everyone else and they're all walking on that path. And if I take that path, I know exactly where it's going to lead me. It's going to lead me down the same path with the same results that I've always had. Okay. It's going to give me the same results that I've always had. Right. But if I go down the other path where there's not a lot of people, right, where very few people have gone, that's where the income opportunities are. That's where that success is going to come from, is the path that not a lot of people take. Right. And to kind of throw into relation to that, like, think of Elon Musk and Tesla. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, I just heard he's the richest man in the world now, not because he's the smartest man in the world, not because he's the best salesman, because he's a great storyteller, but he is, if he decided to take the path that everyone else was on, he would have never come up with the idea of cars that could drive themselves. He would have never come up with electric cars. Like, if he was on that path and thought, oh, the government's never going to pass a car driving by themselves, or how on earth are they going to charge it when they have to leave or they go for a drive? If he thought about that shit before he started, he would have never started. Like, he would have never started. That technology that he's created would never have been here, because he would have stopped at the idea, because he would have been worried about what everyone else thought, and he would have been stayed on the same path that would have got him the same results that he's always had. But he didn't. He looked outside the box, and he said, you know what? He started to get his plan in order. And at first he tried to get it past government. And when he did, he finally gets it past government, and he starts to sell a few cars. And now he figures out, okay, crap, now, you know what? Now I got to figure out some of these solutions. Like, how are people going to charge their cars? Oh, maybe I should put charging stations all over the place. Right. And then the other problem he had was, well, it takes 3 hours to charge my car. Who on earth is going to wait 3 hours to charge their car? So he's like, okay, how about I put a gaming system in the car so that they can play games or scroll the internet while they wait for 3 hours. Right now, obviously technology's changed since, and it's not 3 hours anymore. But I hope you understand that if he stayed down that path, of the path that everyone goes down, or worried about the unknowns, he would have never come up with this idea. Right? We have to think the same way. We can't keep relying on everything that is down the path that everyone goes down. We have to veer off on these paths of unknown, because everything in life that is worthwhile is full of unknowns. Like, that's the God honest truth. Everything that's worthwhile in life is full of unknowns. And if you're someone that gets caught up in the unknowns and needs to know everything before you can start, I hate to say it, but and I might get yelled at a little bit here by Shalene maybe, but you're completely screwed in business. If you are someone that needs to know everything before you can start, you are completely screwed in business, because you're never going to know everything. There's always going to be unknowns. Always. Business is evolving every single day. You're never going to know it all. So you can't wait. If you're going to be successful and you're going to be successful in this business, the insane income opportunities, and insert income disclaimer that Beachbody does not guarantee any level of income or success in this business. It's solely based on the independent coach's skill, efforts, and abilities. If you rely on that, on the unknowns, all the income opportunities and the insane income opportunities are in the unknowns. You're never going to know everything. What's going to happen is you're going to figure shit out as you go, and you're going to problem solve like Elon Musk did. He problem solved. He created an amazing product and then went, oh shit, how can I make it better? Because now there's all these problems out there. If he worried about it before, it would have never happened. Right? So, don't be afraid of the unknown, right? Don't be afraid of the unknown. When you're going through your training or you're on a call with your upline and they ask you to do something, like, do it. It's probably in your best interest. It's for your benefit. I know it might be scary if we ask you or we push you for these big goals. It's for your own benefit, right? And we're not asking you to do anything illegal or jump off a cliff. Like, we're asking you to do stuff that's going to help you grow your business, right? So don't be afraid of the unknown, okay? Don't be afraid of the unknown. Problem solve and figure shit out, because that's what entrepreneur in business is, right? If you're someone that gets hung up on the unknowns, then you're looking for a job, right? Go find a job, because this business is not for that. You need to be able to figure shit out and go and be adaptable to it. Okay. And lastly, number 6, I know we're running out of time here, so I'm trying to fly through some of these points, but lastly, number 6 is all successful people refuel. Okay. What do I mean by refuel? I want you to write that down, refuel. And what do I mean? Personal development. Okay. Personal development. And when we ask, how often should I be refueling? Every damn day. Like, every damn day you should be personal development. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this topic because we really hammer it home, but I'm going to explain it this way once. If you have your car and you're out of gas and your gas tank is at 0 and you tell me you want to drive to Toronto, I hate to tell you, you're not going to get there. Okay. And we can tell when your gas tank is at 0. So and we get this all the time. We hear that people have these big, massive goals and stuff with this business. Like, I'm going to make $1 million with Beachbody. Okay. What's your gas tank look like? Because if your gas tank's at 0, it's probably not going to happen. Like, personal development is a critical part in success. We've already touched on it a couple times, where it is the pivotal point of helping you deal with the daily shit that's going to happen throughout the day. Like, all these curveballs that are going to get thrown at you, personal development is going to help you get through that. Okay. So, something that you need to be doing every day. Like I said, I'm not going to hammer it home because we talk about it enough, but, it is something that you need to be doing every day. And if you're not sure where to start, if you're a new coach and you haven't really got into personal development yet, reach out to your upline coach, reach out to any coach on here and ask their advice, because there are thousands of books and podcasts out there that can completely fit any lifestyle that you are. I know we're not all built the same. My personal development is completely different than Shalene's and anyone else's on this team, but there are thousands and thousands of options out there. And it's something you need to be doing every single day, is refueling. Okay. So just to recap, number 1, you have to have a crystal clear vision of where you want to go. Okay. And do that visualization exercise. I'm going to post it after this call, and I want you to do that exercise. You don't have to do it tonight, tomorrow morning, in the shower, whenever. It's 3 minutes. There's going to be a link to a song that's going to take you to Spotify. When you have 3 minutes by yourself, uninterrupted, I want you to envision your day, your week, your year. You can spend a minute on each of those. It's 3 minutes. Okay. And then I want you to do that every single day. Okay. For the rest of your life. I know that sounds like a big task, but it's so important. And if you can't commit to every day forever, because that's a big commitment, try it for 30 days. Okay. I encourage you to just give it everything for 30 days and watch what happens. Right? Commit to it for 30 days and watch your life literally change, because you're going to have a crystal clear vision of where you want to go. Right? And you can envision that every single day. Okay. Number 2 is you got to create that set of success habits. You have to have a set of daily rituals that are in line with your goal. Okay. So if you are having all your daily habits and some of your vital behaviors are, your vital behaviors for the business, and you took out your phone and you looked at your social media account, we are a heavy social media business. Okay. We spend a lot of time on social media, but if you're not spending the right time on social media, you're doing the wrong habits. You're having a hindering habit, which can be a dream crusher. So if you're on social media for 6 hours and 5.5 of that is scrolling, then you're probably not doing the right activities. Okay. So make sure you have your success habits. Again, if you don't know, reach out to somebody, ask them what they're doing that's helping them with their success, right? What's working in your business right now? Because I promise these success habits, a lot of them are going to stay the same. Some of them are going to change as the business grows, as you grow, things are going to change. Okay. The power of your story. Okay. Tell your story over and over and over again. Okay. I told multiple stories in this call today. I did that on purpose, because if I just came up here and went, okay, guys, today's call is going to be the success habits. And number 1 is you need to have a clear vision and create a story. That's boring. I would fucking tune out a long time ago. I hope I didn't put any of you to sleep, but you need to be able to tell your story and tell it often, because that's what's going to sell. Okay. If you don't know how to sell Shakeology, it's because you're trying to sell it. Tell stories. I promise things will change. Okay. Bounce back quickly. Don't let the opinions of others get in your way. Right. That is an absolute killer. And it happens so often, and it crushes me, because people are cruel. Okay. Not everybody does personal development. A lot of us on here do. Not everyone does it, and they can't handle it, and they feel that they need to put other people down. When you do personal development, that crap doesn't matter anymore. Right? People can say whatever they want about me. I don't care. I don't. I know who I am. My wife knows who I am. You guys know who I am. That's all that matters to me. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Right? Don't let the unknown scare you. Number 5. Right? Don't feel like you have to know everything just to get started. And if that's something that's been holding you back in business so far, I want you to really try and get past that, because the only way to really be successful in something is to do it by trial and error. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. There's going to be good months. There's going to be bad months, but you're going to problem solve and you're going to figure shit out. And it's going to feel really good when you get there. Okay. And last one is refuel every damn day. Refuel. So important. That is it, guys. It is 2 minutes to 9. I got it all in. I was worried. I was talking fast. If I talk too fast, I don't know if Shalene, you want to open up to questions or whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks. That was incredible. So much like head nodding. Everyone's saying yes, yes, yes. Does anyone have any questions though? Or comments?
It's okay if you don't.
I'll share
That was
something.
so good. I was like, that was so good.
I like when you touched on the clear vision, the why, and the story. I think I still struggle even 2 years into this of like my story, because I find that there's so many pieces to our life, and it's kind of hard to like pinpoint a story that really does capitalize as a whole. So I'm still trying to map out like quite how I got here, and like as I'm digging more, I'm like, wow, it goes even further than 2 years
Yeah.
ago and 3, like it's crazy. So I'm still trying to craft, not necessarily even just the story itself, but what is actually what I'm trying to convey and what really got me to where I am and how it's impacted me. So really a work in progress, but I'm glad that you focus on that because it's so important.
Yeah. And I think the cool thing about that is your story is going to recraft over and over and over again. Like as you grow and as you adapt with this and as you grow in life, your story is going to change, right? But we have to get used to being comfortable telling that story, right? And knowing that we need to recraft it and tell it again and recraft it and tell it again over and over and over and over again, because all of our stories are unique. All of our stories need to be heard because there is somebody out there waiting to hear your story, not my story, your story, right? Because if it wasn't for this, and some of you already know this, but if it wasn't for a group like this, I might not even be here, right? It's stuff like this that completely changed my life, and it's because people are so open and sharing that they saved my life. So like your story is unique to you and someone needs to hear it, and that someone's life could be saved because of it. So you're doing a disservice by not sharing your story, right?
You guys, I'll just add to that. As you begin to tell stories, you will get to your story. So don't think you have to have your story perfect before you share your story, okay? Just start sharing. Why did you say yes to coaching? That's your story, like right there. Just fill that in. Right. And for me, I said yes to coaching before Jared did. I wanted this before Jared did. My story for the past 2 years has been Jared's. My story has been his. It's been riding his coattails and us together and trying to build a brand of the two of us together, which we will continue to do. But my story hasn't been shared because I've been hiding because I don't like getting vulnerable and I don't like saying that I'm broken and I don't like sharing the like deep, raw, real truth all the time. But it's easy for me to stand strong and to hide behind somebody else's story to make it look like it's my own. He's not the reason I wanted to coach. He's a big reason why we stuck with it. And it's a big reason why he's coaching, but it's not mine. That's not my story. It's part of it is our story for sure, but that's not mine. And I just want to share that because this has been a block that I've been working through in the past month of really crafting my vision and what that looks like for our family and what that looks like for me. What do I want out of this life? I don't want to fall back into the bad habits of just dreaming for my family and not dreaming for myself anymore. I don't want to fall back into that, right? I climbed out of that. And now it's time to really craft what is my story and what does that look like through all of this. And it's been challenging to like really dig and think back now 2.5, 3, coming on 3 years of when I started with Beachbody. It's hard to think back now of like, wait, where was I actually at and what was I thinking and why did I want this? Besides the story that I've been telling myself for the past 2.5 years. So the sooner you can start telling your story of where you started, the easier it's going to get and the more it will evolve. But the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to actually start sharing it and to remember all of those reasons why you said yes in the first place, right? And I think we think we're boring. We think our story's not good enough. We think that it's not powerful enough. We didn't have a traumatic event happen, so therefore we don't have a story. You can have a great life and still decide one day that you want to have a better life. That's a story. But what is the story that you're telling yourself? That's what is literally going to be the key to unlocking so much for so many of you on this call But don't think it has to be a perfect story. Don't think it has to come from hurt or pain. It can come from joy and goodness as well. Like all of those things can fuel you wanting more change. Look at all of us right now. How many of us feel better than we've ever felt, and we're still craving more change? We want more. We want that feeling. Like once you have a taste of it, you're like, I need this in my life, and you want to go after it. So your story doesn't have to align with somebody else's, or it doesn't have to come from a place of pain. It doesn't have to be deep and dark. Jer's story is pretty deep and dark. My story wasn't that dark. And so I almost felt like it wasn't as valid. Like, well, who am I to share a story that's not like that painful? Do you know what I mean? Or to even share my perspective of what I went through while he was going through his dark season. I had really dark times too, but I don't talk about it. So really dig in. How honest are you actually being, and how are you actually showing up? That for me is like a big thing that I'm working on this year. And I just think it's important because I've had all of those thoughts that I just talked about. I've had all of those too. So really, really dig in. Your story matters. It's not boring. We all live somewhat boring lives, let's be honest. We're stuck in lockdown. Bring some entertainment.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I mean, with just to give some light into Shalene, like when I was in my darkest times, she not once ever complained about me being home or having to drive me everywhere, like not once. So I still don't even know the full story of how hard it was on her. Right. And we're married. We see each other every day. I know it was hard. I know I lived through it, but I don't actually know how hard it was. I can imagine. And even that probably doesn't even do it justice. But yeah, I hope you guys found some of that beneficial tonight. Just because I find that some of these topics are super important, especially the visualization one, which I am going to post that post after this. It'll be in our team page. I want you to do it again. I'm not gonna babysit you. It's not for my benefit. It's for your benefit. But if you do it, I want you to comment in the comments how you felt after. Okay. Because when I visualize, I feel so good after. It's almost like, I remember as a kid, I almost felt like I was ready for that football game. Like I was Superman. Like you throw any scenario at me, I'm ready to go. Right. So I want you to do that exercise. Again, I'm not going to babysit you. You don't do it. That's totally up to you. But if you do, I want you to comment in the comments about how you felt. Okay. Does anybody else have anything before we cut this off? Is 9:07. We've been late like the last 3 weeks. So no. Okay, guys. I'm going to end it here. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you guys sticking through the whole hour and 7 minutes. And again, I'll post that link right now. You don't have to do it tonight, but find 3 minutes of your day and get it done. Okay. Take care, guys. Have a good one.